So I'll start by creating a new file once again. I'm going to call that, let's say, inheritance practice. So now in inheritance practice, so what do we mean by the word inheritance? So now when we say inheritance, we are basically meaning that one class is there and that particular class has certain properties, right? So one class is there which has got certain properties, and what we want is that we want to get that properties automatically flowing into another class. If we want to do so, we will be using inheritance. Okay, so one class has some properties. I want the properties to be flowing into another class, and if I'm doing so, I'll be calling that inheritance. Let's see how we can do that. Let's write down like this: human is a, let's say, a class, and we have got another class which is, let's say, employee. Now we can say that employee is a human, which means that all the properties of a human must be there in employees as well, right? So I'll just change this thing, let's say, into student and teacher. Now student and teacher, both of them are humans. Fine, so what did you get over here? We found out that human is a class, student is a class, teacher is a class. And since student or teacher, these people are humans ultimately, all the properties of humans must be there in students as well as teachers. Let us try to actually do this thing practically. So we'll be creating a class called human, let's say. So I'll be writing down like this. I'll define the init method, def. Let's take the properties like first name, last name. Right, so you can see the first name and the last name we're putting over there, right? And I'll be going for a method called print name. Right, so it prints the first and the last name, that is the entire name together. Now let us create another class with the name, let's say, student. Okay. Now the student class is inheriting the properties from human. So I should write down student, and within bracket I should write down human. If I want to add some more properties in this particular class, I can do that very easily. If not, I can just write them pass and I can leave it. So it will happen when it comes over here, it will be like, okay, fine. So this is a student which is getting inherited from human, and the student doesn't do anything by itself. Whatever it is getting from the human, it is okay with that one. It doesn't want to do anything by itself. If I want to do something by myself, I can write it down over there. So let us say I'm creating another class with the name, for example, let's say class teacher, okay, which is also coming from the human class itself. But here I want to do certain things. So we're writing def init. So it takes the self, you can see over there. Now, let us say I want to do a lot of things over there, right? So I want to do a lot of things over there. I just do not want to stop at, let's say, first name, last name, and all those things, but I want to do a lot of things. So I can go like this. So let's say, let me take the first name and last name anyway. I also need certain things like, if it is a teacher, I know the name of the teacher. I also need to know, for example, subject that the teacher teaches, right? So like subject. So first name, last name, and subject. And for the student, let it be as of now like that, and we shall manipulate it a little bit later. So the first thing is that I want to send this first name and last name to the constructor of the parent class. Human is the parent, teacher is the child, right? Human is the parent, student is the child. So now human already has an init that takes the first name and the last name. So I want to send these two values over there, right? So how do I do that? So parent class is also known as super class. We'll call it super. You can see this coming up. I'm sending the first name and the last name over here. If I do so, then basically what I'm doing is I'm sending this first and the last name to the parent class, and therefore the print name method is there that will be usable by the teacher object, because when I inherit, I automatically get all these things. You can say copied into this particular class, right? It automatically flows into here. So when I'm trying to use teacher object also, I go for print name, I can very easily do it. Or it's a student object and go for print name, I can very easily do it. And I can do it because I've inherited from the human class, which contains this particular method called print name. But anyway, here I'm calling the parent class constructor. So what is happening? I am basically initiating the first name and the last name variables in our human class over there. Now after that, I also want to add like self dot subject equals to subject, right? So I can give another print statement over here, or let's say another method over there, def get subject. and that shall be returning self.subject, right? That gives us back the subject over there. So now let us see how we can implement this particular thing. Let us say I've got a code like this. Okay, so I'm writing like, let's say H equals to human. Okay. Now human requires the first and last name. So let us go ahead and give that. So let's the first name is Rama. Second name is, let's say, Krishna. So if we go like H dot print name, you'll be able to see that is ultimately printing Ramakrishna. Now this is straightforward because human is a class and we got this. Let us try to test it out the same thing for the student class as well. So let's say S equals to student. And I'm sending the same first name and the last name. You can see it is automatically asking. And it is also telling it is coming from human. If you see here, it is writing. It's coming from human. Let's say we are writing Amar Singh. So instead of print name, if I do, once again, print name is not present over here. You can use this thing because this is getting inherited from human class, which is present over here. Okay. And this particular method is being called for this one also. So if I run this, I'll get Amar Singh. And lastly, if I try to check out the teacher, right? Let's the name of the teacher goes like Anita Pai. So Anita Pai is the teacher, let's say. So it'll go like this. If I go for T dot print name, it'll anyway work because it is being called from the parent class. If I go for T dot get subject, that should also return me the subject so I can print it. And if I now go ahead and run it, you can say, okay, require positional argument. Okay, here. I need to pass the subject as well, right? So we've got three things over here. First name, last name, and subject. Let's say subject is, for example, maths. Now if I run it, you'll see the teacher's name is Anita Pai and she teaches maths, right? So you can go like this. We'll cover the next line, but you can understand. Anita Pai teaches maths, right? We can write it in the same line also. That instead of print name, had I been returning this one, then the moral is that the thing was done. Let's say I'm going to get name, print name. So I'm returning this value right now. So if that is what is happening, then you will see that instead of doing a print name, you can just print. You have to print the print name basically. Print get name. So now if I run it, you'll find out like this. Anita Pai teaches maths, right? So like this. Now let us say this student, so we have learned a lot of things over here, right? So this anyway, we already knew it, how to create a class. We understood how we can inherit the properties of another class, one class into another class, right? So that was another thing. And in this one, we understood that how we can also change the constructor over here. So this thing that we did over here, that is known as the constructor was overridden. So we changed the definition of the constructor in the child class, right? In the child class, we're changing the constructor. That's what we did basically over here. When you have this constructor thing going on in the classes and objects going on, so you also have another particular thing that comes into picture that is known as polymorphism. Now, polymorphism and inheritance, they're not the same thing, but they kind of go hand in hand. Okay. So polymorphism and inheritance kind of go hand in hand. So let us try to understand that what is basically polymorphism. Okay. Polymorphism simply means one single method or something which is showing you different behavior. Now, depending upon that, let me give you an example actually, right? So let me create a new class with the name. Let's say polymorphism example. Let us say that I have got a class over here, for example, called a class animal. I'm writing a class called India. Define, let's say, the capital. If I do so, and I'm writing, let's say, return New Delhi. After that, let's say I'm writing like define population. Now I do not know what is the population exactly right now, but let us assume it is, or let's say 130 crore. Let's say I've got another class for the example class Pakistan. I'm going to make definition capital. What's Pakistan's capital? No, I think it is Islamabad. I think so. I'm not sure. And let us say another one is define population. You can see like the same function name, right, which I wrote in the other class also. Once again, I do not know what is the population of Pakistan. Let's assume it is somewhere around 50 crore. Okay, let's just assume it. I do not know. Now, once I've done this thing, and let us say now I have a variable which I'm calling this, let's say, country. Country equals to India. So country dot, if I go like capital, I'll just print this. Or let's say I print the country dot population, then you will be seeing that it is actually printing New Delhi 130 crore. But if we change this thing, the same country, right? The same thing I'll write once again. The same set of lines, once again I've written over there. This time I'm going Pakistan. You'll find out it's something like Islamabad and 50 crore, right? That's more or less what is happening. So the same set of lines give you different meanings. We can actually play with it like this. You see, if we go like this, it's a list of, let's say, countries. So for country in India, Pakistan. Within this, I'll make it square bracket. So the country between India and Pakistan, and if I try to kind of run it and then see, if I just print these two lines, you will see that they're printing the same thing. New Delhi, 130 crore, Islamabad, 50 crore. So this is being printed over here that you can find out. Now, when this is being printed and we are perfectly able to loop through this particular thing, right? So we got two different classes and the same line has got different things to print depending upon which object you're looking at, India object or Pakistan object. So this is one sort of polymorphism. So country.capital is a single piece of code which is showing different outputs at different times. That is one sort of polymorphism, right? So this is one thing that is happening, right? This is one thing that is happening. Another thing that we can do is that, let's say, polymorphism and inheritance together. That also we can do. So we understood inheritance, we understood polymorphism. We can also go for polymorphism and inheritance together, right? So how can I do that? Okay, we can do that by method overriding. Now so let us see how we can do this particular thing. Okay, so I'm going to do an inheritance kind of stuff, but right now with polymorphism, see how it happens together. Okay. Inheritance polymorphism example. So we shall go like this. Let us say I have a class with the name, let's say, vehicle. Now, a class called vehicle, let's say it has got define, for example, get wheels, basically number of wheels, and let's say it returns 4. So by default, a vehicle, let's say, is returning 4 wheels. Okay. Then let's say I've got another one that is like get color, returns white, let's say. Then I got, let's say, define get weight. Let's say it returns 100 kg. Okay, something like this. Now I got another class, let's say class car. Now in car, if you see, I don't really need to change certain things, but I can change the color because the number of wheels is fine. So I define get color. I'm returning, let's say black. Now see this. So I go like this kind of thing, where let's say C equal to car and C dot get wheels. Achha, I'll first implement inherit this. First of all, let me inherit this. So you can see these guys are coming up, but this one is coming from car, get color, right? So that is like taking this definition, that means. But these two, you can see they are saying vehicle. So they are coming from here, get wheels and get weight. Let's say, let's print the get wheels first, right? And print this. So print. It's a wheels you have printed and color also, right? So color, if I try to print, you'll see that that is coming from actually from the car class. So therefore, if I run this particular program, you'll find out wheels is coming as 4, which is coming from here. Color is coming as black, which is coming from here. So even though we had the method over here, since we had changed the definition, right? So this is called method overriding. Since we have changed the definition over here to written black, instead of written in white, it is written in black right now. Okay, that's what is happening. That's what is happening. So it is a method overriding. If I have another class, let's say, for example, class, let's say van, which also goes from vehicle, right? And here I don't pass. Now see what will happen if we go for v equal to van, right? And I come like print, let's say these two things, okay? And so v, let's say I'm writing v, let's say, okay? So v, and this one is coming like Willis is 4 and color is white, right? So this guy becomes white over here. This guy remains 4. This guy also remains 4, but this had got changed earlier in color black because of this definition that is written over here. That's what is going on. So this is your inheritance polymorphism, right? And inheritance and polymorphism together. So we learned inheritance, we learned polymorphism, and we tried to go for inheritance and polymorphism together, right? So this is how you try to play with the inheritance and polymorphism in Python.